Hello everybody, Goes Mac here, and today I'm going to be talking about the ACWR in Battlefield Hardline and my thoughts on that weapon. So, the ACWR is a weapon that is available in the Deluxe Edition for Battlefield Hardline, and once you get the Deluxe Edition, you should get this weapon in a battle pack, and as well as you'll get some other camos and the Car 556 and the LD5A2 for the Deluxe Edition. And I've been using this weapon quite a bit recently, and I actually really enjoy the ACWR, but I want to make this video kind of let you guys know my thoughts on this weapon, whether this is overpowered, and I'm also going to be doing this for the Car 556 and the L85A2, talking about these weapons, see if they are overpowered in the Deluxe Edition, at least in my thoughts, and also give some stats on these weapons, so if you want to make your mind up on whether these guns are good or not, you can do that. So, the ACWR is a carbine available to the operator class. It's available to cops and criminals, so you can use it in both sides, which is quite nice. It's a carbine, and it shoots at 800 rounds per minute, and the max distance is 25, which is actually quite good compared to most of the other carbines, which usually do about 20 to 24 damage. It's quite nice to have a carbine that does do 25 damage, and that will be all the way until 25 meters. After that 25 meters, it will start going down until 15 damage, which at long distance, this weapon isn't that great, but this weapon is pretty good. Now, it only shoots at 800 rounds per minute, which if you remember back to the Battlefield 4 ACWR, that was 880 rounds per minute. And the 800 rounds per minute in Battlefield Hardline makes it tied with the R0933 for the fastest fire rate on any carbine in the game. It's not that 880 rounds per minute that we saw in Battlefield 4, because in Battlefield 4, this weapon was pretty good. I really like the ACWR in Battlefield 4. Of course, it did less damage in Battlefield 4, but it also had 880 rounds per minute. It had a pretty good reload time, and I really enjoyed this weapon in Battlefield 4. It's one of my most used carbines in the game. The muzzle velocity isn't all that great, only at 500 meters per second. It's not favorable for a for a carbine, it's kind of good, I guess. But it'll get beat out by quite a few other carbines, especially the R0933, which does have the same rounds per minute. And the reload time is 2 seconds with a tactical reload with bullets left, or if you have an empty reload, it will be 2.2 seconds. Not all that bad. I actually really like the reload animation on this gun, especially the empty reload animation. I really enjoy watching that reload animation. And, you know, it doesn't have too much recoil. If you look at the recoil, it's not that bad. It's decent. It's not amazing for the carbines. And I want to talk about, is this weapon overpowered? Oh, this weapon, I would say, is not really overpowered, and it's not really pay to win. Now, I've been using this weapon quite a bit, and I don't really think it's overpowered, and there's a few reasons for that. If you look at like the M16A3 or the M416, both of those have higher fire rates and more damage. Now, while I would recommend this weapon, I wouldn't say it's overpowered because of those two weapons. If you look at the M16A3 and the M416, while those weapons may be considered overpowered, they're still very good. Now, it may be the best carbine. I would say, from all the carbines I've used, and I've used pretty much every carbine in the game, I would recommend using this gun if you have it, but you could still use other carbines. I mean, the G36C, that's a good carbine. The R0933, that's pretty good if you want a higher fire rate. If you want a pretty high fire rate at 800 rounds per minute, then you could use the R0933. If you want a weapon like the ACWR, I also really like the SG553, and there's also the Car 556, which is also in the Deluxe Edition. I haven't had the most success with that weapon, but I'm gonna make another video on that soon, and talk about that, and as well as the LD5A2. I don't think that this weapon is overpowered, because of the R0933 and the assault rifles like the M16A3 and the M416. Those weapons are amazing. I don't want to say that this is a overpowered weapon, and it does have a magazine size of 30, so you could probably kill quite a few enemies with one magazine with this weapon. And if you have this weapon, I would recommend it, but I wouldn't say that it's overpowered. And it's honestly got quite a nerf from Battlefield 4, especially in the rate of fire department. And in Battlefield 4, this weapon was amazing. In Battlefield Hardline, it's still pretty good. but it's not top tier, I would say. I wouldn't say that the Battlefield 4 ACWR was like so overpowered, but it was actually quite good with that 880 rounds per minute, a pretty low recoil, a magazine size of 30. In Battlefield 4, it also had a amazing reload time, or a tactical reload time. And, you know, just all those put together made it a very good gun. But the damage did drop off quite fast. In Battlefield Hardline, the damage is actually pretty consistent over a pretty long distance. I mean, that's 25 meters. That's pretty good. At 25 meters, it will still be doing 25 damage. And I really enjoy that. At a long distance, I would not recommend this weapon. Just try and get up close if you want to use this weapon. Now, as for attachments, I actually had quite a bit of success with the Micro T1 optic, but also I tried out the Cobra. I would only really recommend any closer range optics. I wouldn't really recommend any like ACOGs or anything like that. You could, I guess, use them, but I wouldn't really recommend any of those higher powered optics, because that's not really what you want to use this weapon for. Now, I also started using the heavy barrel on this weapon, and I really enjoyed the heavy barrel. You do get a muzzle brake for free, so once you start using this weapon, I would recommend that. You could also maybe put a suppressor on here. I haven't tried that, but I guess it could work. Now, you could also maybe put a laser sight on this weapon as well. I usually put extended mags on here, just because 36 rounds is quite good. I really like not having to reload, and even then the reload is pretty fast. Now, you could put a laser sight on here. The hip fire isn't amazing. It's okay. If somebody's up close, I guess you could hip fire them, but it's not that great. Now, I would also recommend using a stubby grip on here. The stubby grip, you know, I would honestly recommend using a stubby grip. I guess you could use like some of the other grips and see which one you like, but I started using the stubby grip and I really like it, so you can do that. Overall, I wouldn't really say that this weapon is overpowered, but it is very, very good. If you have it, I would say that you may want to use this, especially if you're starting out the game. You get it pretty early on. I mean, if you have the Deluxe Edition, you can get it right off the bat. It will do pretty good. It will do pretty good. While it may not be as great as the M16A3 or the M416 or even some other carbines, in many situations, the M16A3 and the M416 will probably beat it out. It's still a pretty good carbine if you want to start out the game. So those are my thoughts on this gun. Now, it is only operator as well. I want to make that clear. So let me know in the comments. Do you have this weapon, and do you really enjoy it, or do you not like it? What are your thoughts on this weapon? And if you want to go check out the stats on this weapon, those will be in the description, or it will take you to simfic.com, where all the stats are on this weapon. So let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoy. Feedback is always appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.